Network. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and as always, leave a comment, and thank you for enjoying the video.
Shot to right, slicing toward the pesky pole, down the line, and it's going to be out of here! Line down the right field line toward the pesky pole, leaping up, and that ball is gone! That's a home run! A lot of our Nesson team as well. High fly down the right field line, headed toward the pesky pole, that one tucked in, and that ball is going to be against the wall, and into second base. Number retired, and now Rafael Devers trying to retire that baseball inside the pesky pole.
Welcome to another episode. This is a bonus episode, episode 85 of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, Rit. With me, like always, is DOG George Sutherland and my man DC, brought to you by BSEN, Boston Sports Entertainment Network. Guys, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, George. You got a lot more going on than me.
Yeah, on the road. We're in just outside of Huntsville, Alabama today. So hopping on and glad I could make this one.
DC, I'm glad to see you have power.
Yeah, last night was a little rough, man. 6-year-old scared to death. Woke up, there was probably like 30 water bottles in my backyard, cushions to seats. But yeah, other than that, pretty happy. I mean, kind of happy that we rescheduled this because I would have missed it if it was last night. But I'm doing pretty well. Did some lawn work today, and I'm definitely feeling pretty old, man. Pretty tired.
Hey, if you want, I can send my 14-year-old son over to mow the grass for you because I'm not.
Depending what the price is, man. Depending what the price is.
He likes food. He likes food and he likes slushy. So,
dude, I'll get him whatever he wants in a slushy if he comes once a week.
So, but guys, we have a great guest tonight. We went and we had to do a little reschedule because of a long bus trip. So, but guys, we're gonna sit there and play a little intro before we bring on our guest from the Greenville Drive. So. And we are bringing on our guest, Enter Sandlin, Mr. David Sandlin. How you going?
Doing good, man. Happy to be here. I love the video.
Oh, man.
That's the first time I've seen that.
I sit there and I'm like, man, we got to do something big. I love your walkout song. I am big into, wrestling too. So when, we do things, I try to oh man, we got to incorporate this a little bit. The Sandman was huge in ECW back in the day. So, and the Sandman song is, one of your favorites. So, but man, how does it feel to walk out, having that thing blaring, and you're just out there warming up?
I get pretty juiced up every time I hear it. I mean, it's definitely a song that it can fire you up pretty easily. And definitely some of the people, obviously, the songs associated with, like Mariano. So got to go out there and perform to be able to have that song.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if you noticed, but I also incorporated clips of your first strikeout this season also in there. And, just to see you get pumped up after that, was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, no, it felt good to be back out there finally, and definitely against someone like Chandler Simpson, that hitter who gave me fits last year in the Carolina League for Tampa Bay. So felt good to get that first K under the belt with the first hitter.
So we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to throw in some baseball, but we're going to go all over the board here, with you. So DC, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I was listening to, I think it was to the Show We Go with Andrew Parker. He was asking about your favorite NBA player. I was stoked to hear your answer. Russell Westbrook, right?
Oh, yeah. He's the way he plays the game, the intensity he has. I kind of try to model myself after that. Just pure passion for the game while he's on the court. Same thing for me on the baseball field.
Yeah. Were you, I'm assuming you were a Thunder fan then? Or are you just a fan of Westbrook? Yeah, I figured being, down in Oklahoma.
Yeah, just still a fan of him, obviously, but the Thunder fan. So big news yesterday for us, getting that 1 seed. That was awesome.
That's huge over the Nuggets too. The Nuggets are crazy, dude. The West is wild. You think like the people that are in like 9th and 10th place could, are in like 2nd or 3rd in the East. It's wild, the discrepancy between the two. But no, I just wanted to bring up. I heard that. I was like, oh yeah, dude. I love Russell Westbrook. He's my favorite player ever, other than Kobe, but. Yeah, I love me some Westbrook.
Yeah, he was the man for me growing up there, and I know it's awesome to see them back in the playoffs because I think I saw somewhere today that I think the playoff tickets sold out in 30 minutes or something like that.
Dude, I believe it.
So
Can you imagine if him, Harden, and imagine him and Harden and Durant stayed together? Dude, that would have been. I mean, you can dream, right?
Yeah, you can dream.
Dream.
Technically, that was like that was the first big three before the big three. Am I correct?
I think that was after the Celtics.
Yeah, and it was about the same time as LeBron, Wade, and Bosh in Miami.
Yeah, I still don't understand or like how, like looking at the talent that was on the team for Oklahoma City at that time, like how because like didn't they? Yeah, they went to the finals against Miami. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't understand how, like, I guess the chemistry, wasn't there overall, but as individuals, those three were unstoppable.
Yeah, I think it was also just the maturity level. They're all still a super young team. I mean, I think that's within 4 to 5 years of Oklahoma City even being a franchise. So it was just the maturity level. I think they were kind of young, and you have LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, who just obviously were at their primes, and then you had the Spurs with all their guys and Pop, who just had that knowledge of the game. So it was tough for them then.
Yeah, George?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Celtics fan, so anytime I get a chance to watch some of the Western Conference teams, I take advantage of it. And hey, I'm happy for them. They've had they had a rough go, but Westbrook, great player. Love watching him play as well. I'm going to let DC continue because he's got a couple of questions for you.
Oh, we could bounce around, man.
All right, so I'm going to go baseball, and so you left one organization, you came to another. What's it been like for you since you got to the Red Sox organization? And did you know any of the guys, in Greenville, when you got there?
It's been really cool. It's been a good time transitioning. They made it really easy. A lot of the staff, a lot of the guys just welcomed me with open arms and everything. I knew not on Greenville, but I knew Wild Olds he's up in Portland. He was at Oklahoma the year before I was. Michael Fulmer, who's on a minor league deal with the Red Sox, works out at the place I train, actually a partial owner of it. And then Jared Godman I played with. But none of the guys I knew directly in Greenville, but baseball is a big world. So I had guys from the Royals be like, hey, I know this guy that's on Greenville, or I know this guy on the Red Sox. So it made it easy to introduce myself and kind of have those connections.
Cool. Yeah, it's important, especially after you've played a couple of seasons in an organization, and you find yourself very quickly in another place, and it makes the easier it comes in, the easier it is for you. So that's awesome. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, Dave. As soon as we announced that you were coming on the podcast, I had the first two people that I got a follow from was your mom and dad on Twitter, and that was like that reminded me so much of Hunter Dobbins, because as soon as we announced he was coming on our podcast last year, we had his whole family following us. So how much does that mean to you that your family supports you that much and is that involved in the Twitter world too?
Yeah, I mean, my parents are the world to me. I know I wouldn't be anywhere near where I'm at in life or in my profession without them. All the times they had to take me to camps and coaching and all the early mornings or late nights growing up playing travel ball, all the money I had to spend on travel ball, I would be nowhere near the player I am or person I am without them. So it's awesome. I'm glad they are starting to navigate Twitter a little bit better. They're still relatively new to it. So, and they'll ask questions and stuff. My mom already knows she's not the best sometimes with technology, but it seems like she's getting the hang of it now. So,
yeah. I was just excited because I was like, wait a minute. So I went and looked, and I'm like, oh, this is his mom. Oh, this is his dad. So I was really excited because it for me it shows how much they are involved with you to this day. I have a show I do with Joey Stock, who last year was on the Greenville Drive, and we sit there and we talk a lot, message back and forth, how much his family was always involved in every aspect, going all the way to the Greenville Drive. And even after he decided to retire last year. So I know that family is the most important thing sometimes. And, it's always great to have the approval of not only mom, but, dad also.
oh yeah, no, it's awesome. I know if my dad didn't have to work and my mom didn't have to be at home so much, I'm sure they would just buy a RV and just follow me everywhere I went and played. So it's awesome to have that support.
To kind of piggyback off, well, that was actually good timing, I guess. Piggyback off family. What was the draft process like for you and family? Like, it had to be obviously a special moment for everybody. Was it what you expected to be as well?
It was actually pretty stressful, just not knowing the certainty of where I was going to fall and everything. And obviously having 2 more years of eligibility, didn't know if I was going to go back to school. I know that draft, thought we were going to get early day 2, didn't fall that way. And I think that kind of stressed my parents out, and they were all obviously there to comfort me and everything, and support my decision because I was planning 100% to go back to school. Until I got that call from Kansas City the next day. I was dead set on returning to Oklahoma for another year. But obviously when that phone call happened, got to call my dad at work because the day 3 was on a Monday. So I got to call him at work. My mom was pretty excited and everything. I think she was kind of trying to feel out how I felt about going day 3, but I was just happy to continue my career.
Listening to you on some of the podcasts that I've done over like the last day or two, you strike me as a guy that kind of takes that stuff in stride, uses it as fuel. So I'm assuming that's just, pretty correct with how it went.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously I thought of myself highly, and it was nice to have an organization that think of me that highly, and just it gave me a chance to go out there and prove that I am as good of a player, if not better than I think that I am. And then obviously the same thing with the Red Sox and the trade. They valued me at a high level, and it's nice to have a reassurance from an organization, and it just motivates you to go play and prove that organization right. So it's nice to have that.
Dave, I'm going to throw a name out there, and I want you to sit there and tell me what he meant to your career and what he means to you. Matt Parker.
Oh man, he's more than a coach. I mean, that guy, is one of the most influential people in my life, teaching me life lessons, whether that be on the field or off the field. I mean, he really did a great job down at Eastern Oklahoma State, preparing me and all the other guys there to be men after baseball and being men and leaders on the baseball field. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't have got even. I don't even think I would have got to the University of Oklahoma without the lessons and coaching he gave me, let alone get drafted without him.
Yeah, I seen that not only he was a big influence on you, but you like to repay the favor, and I see that you go back and visit, and continue to this day, have a relationship with him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every once in a while we'll get texts, whether it just be me and him or the entire coaching staff with Noe Rees and Justin Oney that were also down there. Whether they're just messing with me, giving me a hard time about something, or just asking how I'm doing and everything. I mean, those three guys really paved my career, and I think really made me the player I am today, where just bringing that respect for the game what I think is the big thing, and the work ethic they taught me. Just you have to work hard. If you get complacent, you get passed.
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely, talking to Joey and talking to a lot of the other minor league pitchers, you always got to improve. You got to put in the work. If not, someone else is going to sit there and work harder than you, and you're going to be passed by because, you're just being complacent.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's an ever evolving game. As you even see now, people throw harder, their stuff moves more. Like, there's always something you got to work on to just bring that extra edge to your game. So especially as a guy in the minor leagues, you got to work to make it. And then from all the guys I've talked to, you got to work to stay once you get to the bigs. So you definitely just have to bear down and just know that you're never satisfied with the work you put in.
Dave, I want to ask you a question. I want to get your opinion on this because you touched on, people were throwing harder. They're going for more spin rate because they don't want somebody to take their job in essence. Do you think that mindset nowadays, with all these recent injuries in Major League Baseball, do you think that's, a big key cause to it?
I mean, I'm no expert to talk on it, obviously, as with the human body, but I mean, I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's kind of just a combination of all the things that have changed inside the game, but obviously throwing harder puts more stress on your body. So that makes sense that with the average velo going up, the injuries are going up as well.
Yeah. George?
Yeah. So, being a pitcher, was there any major league pitcher growing up that you tried to model yourself after, or one that you said, hey, I want to be like him?
There were a couple. It was kind of a mixture. I think the biggest one, for just the longevity of his career and how he was able to put pitches where he wanted it, would be Wainwright. I kind of grew up a Cardinals fan, being born there. So I got to watch back in the day him and Yachty just call masterclass games. And then probably the mentality, I would go Scherzer. Just kind of that, like, I'm coming after you, and you're gonna have to deal with me just putting my pitches by you.
Have you had a chance to reach out to Wayno at any point, or?
No, that would be special. That would be awesome. But no, I've never got the opportunity to do that.
Okay, well, we'll put it out there. And maybe he'll reach out to you.
Love that.
That'd be sick.
Oh yeah.
So you touched on when Josh or the Red asked you the question about the velocity and all that affecting all that, and you said the changes in the game. What's the pitcher's mentality of if like the robot ump? Was that something you'd like to see in the major league level? I don't know if there's a difference between the hitter or the pitcher, viewpoint of that.
I mean, I don't really get too caught up on that because I think I said this on one of the other podcasts I was on. You got both sides get helped by it. Sometimes you get squeezed in a zone. Sometimes you have a larger zone, and more times than not, it levels out to where it's pretty even. Obviously, there's some bad calls in a recent game that was by a particular umpire, but I mean, I don't like the idea of taking the human element out of the game, but at the same time, I can see where it's needed for the robo ump. So
cool.
Yeah. So, not only are you a big baseball fan, you said you're a Cardinals fan growing up. Hopefully, we converted you to the Red Sox, fandom now. Oh, yeah. But you're also an Indianapolis Colts guy and a Blues hockey guy too. So, man, what's it going to take to get for you to, Celtics, some Bruins gear? I'll start a little GoFundMe to help you out a little bit.
Jesus.
Bruins would probably be the easiest one to convert me to. Colts, that one's not going to change. I've been there on the highs and been there in the lows, so I'm going to stick with that. I mean, it was a pain to deal with Brady and everything growing up, so I had that respect for Boston sports. But Celtics, I could get behind the Celtics. I mean, I know one of my buddies has been trying to convert me since we were back in middle school. So,
oh man, I can absolutely respect though. I can see Bruins, Celtics possibilities, but I can absolutely respect the Colts aspect because AFC Championship almost every year. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, just battling it out, and they were battles. Like,
oh yeah.
So what made you be a Colts fan? Growing up.
So all my family's originally from Indiana or the Indianapolis area. So that's kind of the team I would go and watch when we go home for Christmas. And then my uncle, I was lucky enough that my uncle is pretty close with a lot of people in the higher ups in the organization, to where I remember when I was in St. Louis, we went and got on the field for a game and got to meet Dwight Freeney. And then when he used to own the restaurant for the team, I got to meet players like Pierre Garçon and Robert Mathis. So just being around that kind of drew me in, and obviously them being good, it was like awesome to watch a team be that good at the time, even though they got a few less Super Bowls than Tom Brady did in New England. But and then I just kind of stuck with it, didn't really care for any other team, fell in love with Andrew Luck. He left, didn't really want to switch teams, still just had the love for Indianapolis. Still go to a game, try to go to a game at least once a year every time we're home for Christmas. So
yeah, that's pretty.
Loyalty.
Yeah, that's one thing that we have to sit there and respect is a loyalty to and it's funny because I sit there and I'm asking you about the Indianapolis Colts, but I myself am a Giants fan and DC is the Eagles fan, so
I'm the lone Patriots fan because I live in New England, so.
there you go.
Yeah, don't say that out loud, man. They find out who my basketball team is, they're gonna stop listening. No, I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
50 wins, baby. Number 2 seed.
DC. Oh,
let's go. Yeah, I've been through it all with them though, so I gotta enjoy the highs.
New England sports and gave my favorite teams fits growing up. So I have respect for it, whether it was the Red Sox or the Patriots. It was always tough to just know that we had to play one of those teams from Boston.
But now that you brought it up, man, it's. Do you think that this is just like a big joke now that you got traded over here because the Cardinals twice in a World Series?
Yep.
And then all those years with Brady, it's like, man, like, you think it's like I'm being punked. Ashton Kutcher, comes out.
No, I mean I'm for it, especially if that kind of culture and everything returns. Which, from what I've seen with everything that I've seen during spring training, I have high hopes for how the organization is going to keep moving forward and everything. So as long as that returns, I'm here for it. Hopefully, I can get myself a couple rings.
Love that.
Cool. So, before we came on the air, you talked about the fact that you had an incredibly long bus ride overnight. So other than sleep, what do you do to keep yourself occupied?
A lot of times on the bus, like last night on bus ride, I think the first 4 hours we were playing just different types of card games and everything. We had in the back of the bus there were 2 tables, so we had a rotation of 4 guys at each table. And once you lost, you would go get in one of the seats that was like the on deck seat or something, and you just get in line. We did that for probably about 4 hours. Other than that, it'd be video games or just going and hanging out somewhere with some of the guys, or if my family's in town, family or friends.
Who's the card shark in the group?
I would say Dalton Rogers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, like there's always one guy that just seems to have all the luck, and he just no matter what game you play, he always seems to come out on top.
Actually, I'll change it to Connolly Early. Connolly Early, just him and Caden Rose were running the tables last night. So they were just getting the best hands. So
what do you play? I'm picturing like spades. So what game were you playing?
They were trying to get some spades running, but we mostly play a game called Pasoy Dos. It's like 13. It's a card shedding game, and you play like either when you play singles, you play the highest card, pairs highest card, and then it's like if you get you can do 5 card hands, and it's like goes off poker rule, whatever card's the highest there. So it's just whoever loses their cards, and you do a little bit of trading cards at the beginning. You can bid on them with other cards, and it just seems like Connolly and Caden Rose always just have the best hands. They'll be sitting there when we'll be bidding cards, and they'll be like, "I'm good. I don't need any more cards. I got the best hand." And it's like, all right.
Did you ever check up their sleeves?
We did make them stop shuffling for a while because we were getting suspicious about things. So
that's cool.
So what are your big now I'm not sure if it's a pre-pitching game or just a pre-game thing. You're big into Star Wars.
Yes.
So you got to watch Star Wars. Okay, I'm a Star Wars guy too. So
heck yeah.
I've got to ask, what's your order of the 6 movies of what's the best one and what's the worst one?
One, I would definitely go Revenge of the Sith. I think that's my one lock. And then I would say probably 2 would be Return of the Jedi. And then the other ones kind of just get interchangeable. I'd go Attack of the Clones. And then New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace. And I'd go that order.
Phantom Menace, you could almost take that movie out of existence because
it's needed. It's needed. It's just the only problem I have with the movie is that I feel like they concentrate the 20 minutes or 30 minutes of action into the last 20 or 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it because I think most of it, once they find Jar Jar Binks, most of the whole movie is just trying to, make him like the main focus of comedy, and there's more story to tell than just him, and it just brings and waters it down.
Yeah, I like some of the theories though that circulate around with him that he might be a Sith and he's not actually clumsy. He's doing it on purpose. That stuff's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah. Who do you think in Star Wars is the most underrated character?
Underrated character. That's tough. That's really tough. I want to go with one of the new movies actually,
Okay.
and I think Poe Dameron was actually a good character that just got put into some bad movies.
Okay. And who do you think is the most overrated character?
I don't think there really is one. I think everybody else is pretty properly rated. Because I can't think of one. I got nothing. I can't take shots at any of them.
But me personally, and you're probably not going to like this, is Han Solo. Like, I think he is overrated because 90% of the time in the movies, it's either Chewie helping him, it's R2D2 or C3PO, getting everything fixed, and he gets that shitty luck, overall. So
yeah, I can see that for sure. Oh man, yeah. You have to.
I'm so lost right now.
I'll say, are you the cartoon, the Clone Wars?
I've watched all of them.
So yeah, DC, you got to sit there and take. It's going to take you a weekend, but you got to watch.
It's going to take you a lot more than that.
Yeah,
I'm talking. Well, you got kids too. Well, you might be able to get them to sit down and watch the cartoons with you.
No, my daughter, my 15-year-old, not 15-year-old, 15-month-old. It's either Leo on Netflix. There's a new Turbo Snail movie that she'll watch, or Shrek. But I've stayed away from Shrek because I was about to go crazy. I think I watched it 30 times in a week. I'm not even kidding. I could tell you from start to finish.
Do what my niece does. Get her into Bluey.
We did Bluey with my stepdaughter. Man, I love Bluey. Actually, this had their last episode. I guess it kind of sucks, but I had to take a break. Man, we were spending too much time together, Bluey and I.
Yeah. So, DC, what's up? You want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. Something I do know a little bit about. I'm not very good at it, but I hear you're a big MLB The Show guy.
Yes, love it.
How's that Diamond Dynasty team looking? Or do you play other modes?
It's looking all right. I haven't been able to grind the show as much this year, just with other things. And I like to play more just co-op with my buddies. I don't really like playing video games as much by myself, but it's looking solid enough. Just got my card the other day, so I get to use that.
Oh, it's dope.
Oh yeah, it's sweet.
What's that like? You're playing a game that you probably played as a kid, and you're seeing you're on the screen.
Yeah, no. Last year it was really surreal. This year, I think I'm gonna have to shoot him an email because I still don't have an actual picture. The guy's animated, and they have me in a Northwest Arkansas jersey for the Royals. So got to get that, and then the velocity. They had the velocity tick down a little bit, so I guess they didn't get to watch the first game. So I got to
get them on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Actually, go ahead. I think I know what you're going to say, Rick.
So I went and kind of skimmed through, your Twitter a little bit, and man, what are your thoughts if you want to speak on it? On T-Mobile as an internet when you're trying to play the show?
That was tough because we were at a Airbnb spot down there in Fort Myers, and we had the hosts were fantastic. They were great people. They actually went and got us that internet because they didn't have it was a duplex and they only had internet on their side. So they're like, we'll hook you up with some internet on your side. So I was super thankful for them doing that until what happened. It's crazy because I was getting the game off my buddy because we usually split games. Like I bought Call of Duty, so he bought MLB The Show, and we'll go back and forth to save money. And I was like, oh, it's not letting me play because I game shared. So then I buy the game, and I was like, well, it's still not letting me play. and I go and like do some deep research. And even last year there was trouble with T-Mobile, so I switched the internet to the other side of the duplex, and it worked perfectly fine, just like that. And I was like, oh, come on.
Damn.
It's funny that DC can tell you about his stories.
Yeah, I have T-Mobile, and it's actually pretty solid for me. I can play any other game, Call of Duty, FIFA, and then I was trying to play ranked games on Diamond Dynasty. It wouldn't even let me get into a game. It would just say challenge failed.
Yeah, that's exactly what mine was doing.
Yeah, and then I was looking up online, and everybody was saying, "Oh, I have T-Mobile." So I was like, I'm just gonna reset my router. So I only had to reset it twice in the last 3 weeks, and then it worked. You just have to reset it, quit the game, and then go back in. But I didn't figure that out, until a month of research. Dude, I was so mad. It's I want to get these players.
Yeah, no, because it was letting me do moments and everything like that. And then I'd start trying to play with my buddies, and it would just challenge failed over and over and over again. And I was like, what's going on? But yeah, that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah. George?
Not a big MLB The Show guy.
George, can't hear you. Uh-oh. Okay.
What do you play in Call of Duty? You play Warzone, Resurgence?
I did. That was big during COVID, and then after, kind of just got out of it and was just playing normal Search and Destroy and stuff like that. But this new one, I just haven't played much at all. I think I played maybe 2 weekends of it, and then other than that, it's been Rocket League, Grand Theft Auto. Actually, ever since they announced GTA 6 was coming out, we kind of started playing with that more. And then as soon as MLB The Show came out, that definitely ready for some NCAA football though.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna take a whole week of PTO.
that there, I think it's gonna crash the first day, guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way possible that they've been waiting that long for that to come back, and it's not gonna sit there. It's probably gonna be the game of the year for one, and it's gonna sit there and crash, at whatever network you're playing on. I'm kind of hoping it's cross-platform compatible.
It probably will. It should be.
I feel like they'd lose way too much money if they don't do that, because people will want to play with their friends on Xbox or whatever PC.
So, but Dave, what was it like being announced and then being a part of the 2024, the first time ever 2024 spring breakout game?
Oh, I mean, it's awesome. Obviously, you look at that team that the Red Sox had, and I mean, it's just so talented from top to bottom. Every guy at every position, and as you can see, a lot of those guys are at the higher levels and throughout this organization. So to be a part of that team, even just to be there and watch those guys play or pitch or whoever it was, even to play that kind of high caliber game against other high caliber prospects, it was super cool to be a part of.
Yeah. How surprised were you that they chose you to be a part of the game itself?
I was a little surprised. Obviously, I thought that highly of myself, but I also at the same time, just being new to the organization and everything, didn't know how it was going to work out, or if they would rather have some homegrown guys kind of represent them. But to be able to represent them, even just being at the game, not playing, within really my first 3 weeks of being with the organization, it was really cool.
I was a little surprised watching that game. How I thought, since kind of give everybody a little showcase of talent, they would have went and used more pitchers to showcase their talent and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it though. They kind of told us they didn't want to get us off our schedules when we were lining up to throw in season and everything, and obviously that makes perfect sense and everything. So what I hope the MLB can do moving forward maybe is kind of have like more exhibitions of like almost like a in-season tournament vibe that the NBA does during spring training with the breakout teams. With so that way, other guys can get in and everything, and that way I think the fans would be more drawn to that kind of minor league development side during spring training.
Yeah, I know personally since DC and I and us the Pesky Podcast have gotten press passes. We built more relationships, and I've been more involved. I actually enjoy watching and having the games be like they were earlier, the 9 o'clock West Coast games, the early games, so I can watch some minor league baseball. Watching the Woo Sox or Portland or the Greenville Drive and stuff a lot more, because then you get to familiarize yourself with the future of the organization.
Oh yeah, no, it's nice to see. I feel like ever since being drafted, I kind of got open to the side of how many more fans actually pay attention to the minor league side, because you get to see the guys that are obviously going to be on the big league team at one point. Because I remember growing up being in Tulsa, we had the Tulsa Drillers, and they were originally the Rockies affiliate, and then they switched to the Dodgers, and I got to see guys like Seager and Bellinger come through there, or like Kershaw on a rehab assignment. And so that kind of helps people in those areas that don't have a big league team like us in Oklahoma fall more in love with the game.
When you're down in spring training, for the first time with the Red Sox organization, is there that one person that you were, kind of in awe, like seeing down there in person? And then did anyone, give you any advice from, the Red Sox organization while you're down there?
I think the person in awe, obviously being a Cardinals fan and just how he's built, is Tyler O'Neill. I mean, that guy is huge. I mean, then obviously seeing like Kenley Jansen working out and stuff, him just being a massive, massive human as well. As for kind of helping me through everything, I would say Michael Fulmer definitely helped me a lot this spring training. Just having the expertise of him going through multiple minor league or major league seasons, and then also having to live probably in a tougher era of being a minor leaguer definitely helped. So,
yeah, it's funny how you bring up Tyler O'Neill. We kind of dubbed Tyler O'Neill and Jarren Duran the Super Smash Brothers, because I have never seen two guys as jacked as they are that can cover as much outfield as they do at one time for quite some time.
Oh yeah, no, it's the outfield, and then you got Rafi in there too.
Yeah, Sadan.
Sorry. They're just speed demons out there, and then obviously it sucks with the Tyler O'Neill news with how he started this year. I mean, he was tearing it up.
Yeah, especially comparing it to last year when we had Adam Duvall, who was tearing it up, and then all of a sudden it's like he went down with an injury. I'm hoping O'Neill, isn't out as long. I know he's on concussion protocol right now, but that was absolutely vicious. That headbutt, and personally, I think Devers shouldn't have been out there. That was completely the left field, his ball. But I really hope that O'Neill can not the concussion protocol can be negative, and he'll be back in a game or two.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
George.
So I always ask this of any player that we have on. If you weren't playing baseball, what would you be doing?
I think the two things that I think I would have went to school for and gotten interested in is probably kinesiology, to kind of be still around sports, but help people with working on their body and everything. That, or I would have probably tried to go to law school. That's what I wanted to do originally when I was younger. I remember telling my mom I wanted to go to law school even in middle school. But obviously playing baseball and going to law school at the same time would have been a pretty tough gig. So I chose baseball.
If you could go back and talk to your 12-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
Just trust it. Don't lose faith that God has a plan, and just trust everything. Don't get frustrated in the moments that it seems like your world with sports is crashing down. I would say that just stick your head down and work.
Good.
DC?
Dang, man, how am I going to follow that? That's a good question. So you mentioned law school. Like I said, I listened to the podcast with Andrew Parker and a bunch of guys on to this show we go, and he brought up Suits. How sad were you that Mike wasn't part of the last season?
It just wasn't the same. I mean, it's obviously I still enjoyed it, but it just didn't have the same feeling.
Yeah, it was completely off. But dude, that's a great show. I just wanted to bring it up.
Awesome. Yeah, no, especially if I would have watched that when I was younger, that might have leaned me towards being a lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I waited a little bit to ask this because I didn't want you to dip out on us, Dave. So you're a big Oklahoma fan. I love me some Longhorns. So, you know, that rivalry, like what was the worst game that you've watched? You know, Oklahoma, Texas, where, you know, you were just like frustrated at the TV, you know, watching the game.
See, luckily the year when it was 49-0, I remember that was first year being drafted, and we had a workout that morning or something. I just got back to the apartments and crashed, so I didn't even get to have to struggle through watching that game. So that would definitely be the worst if I would have got to watch it. The worst one I probably watched, I think, that I was frustrated with was Kyler Murray's year that I think they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that other than that, it's been pretty dominant on the OU side. So I haven't had to be too mad at things for a while.
Okay. I admit that you guys have dominated, you know, us. I just wanted to hear you say the 49-0 game, you know, personally. So
yeah. Sorry, I was asleep. I crashed out after the workout, so I didn't get to get too frustrated after that. Other than one of our free agent guys for the Royals at the time, Marcus Oliveras, was a relief pitcher at Texas, so he gave me a hard time for that one once I got up from the nap.
So
I thought you forgot about that question.
Oh no, I was saving it because just in case he's like, oh wait, I have T-Mobile, and boom, gone. So, T-Mobile will probably never be a sponsor of our podcast ever.
No.
So,
or maybe they will be. They want to show you how good their internet is. So,
so
get ready with that testimony, DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, David, what is your definition of a leader?
I would definitely say someone that leads from the front. You have to lead from the front to be a leader. Someone that shows people how to the right way to go about things or how to do something, rather than telling someone the right way to go about things. It's about actions. It's not about being a boss and telling people to go do stuff or how to do something the way that you want it to be done. Like you do it and then have the people follow you.
Yeah, I've always been taught by a guy at a young age who I used to work do construction with. He's always said, "I will never tell you to do something I wouldn't do myself." So he always showed me that he did it first, and then I followed suit. The worst time he ever did that, we were on scaffolding, and we were on 3 tiers of scaffolding, and we were putting up faucet, and we couldn't reach. So he went and got an 8-foot step ladder and put it on top. And he goes, "I'm going to go up and put up this half. You're going to go up and put up the other half." And knowing his what he told me, I'm like, okay. And the wind was blowing, and I'm lucky I'm here today because that was probably the worst experience of my life doing that. But I did it because he did it first.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, no, I remember actually touching back on Matt Parker. One of the best things he ever taught us is, as important as it is to be a leader, you always need that first follower in a group too, because the first follower is just as important. For people will be scared to follow someone that leads unless they see other people following that person as well.
Well, I want to sit there and throw a big shout out to Jan. She just liked liked my Twitter post, so I know she's watching. So what's going on, Jana? I hope you're having a great night. So, George, you're next.
What would tell us something about you that would surprise a lot of people if they say, "Wow, that's interesting." What's something to say, "Hey, it's a little bit different," or whatever, and say, they find out about what you're doing, and maybe your teammates don't even know.
I would say probably more people have come to learn it, but I think the most interesting thing is probably that I just wasn't the caliber of player a lot of these guys were in high school. Like, a lot of these guys were the perfect game All-Americans and stuff like that. I didn't play varsity baseball until my senior year of high school. No fault by the coaches or anything of that nature. I was just at an extremely talented high school with extremely talented guys in front of me. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know. They have that pedigree of being good for a long time. Like I was talking to some of the guys, I think the other day, like, I've really only been pitching at a competitive level since the year after COVID. Since COVID doesn't really count. So the year after COVID, I've only been really pitching at a competitive level since then.
Cool,
man. Dave, I like how you went baseball route. I thought George was trying to set you up after I said your mom was watching and stuff, and George is like, well, let's see if mom knows this.
No, I was a little careful not to direct him anything that could get him in trouble. I have three kids, man. I know exactly what it's all about.
She knows I'm a pretty open book with her, so she knows pretty much everything that's ever really happened in my life.
DC.
Yeah, I got one more, and then we can probably wrap this up. I'm assuming we're getting towards the end. We've had you for a good amount of time. So you said that you're a big sports fan. Obviously, we talked about it a good amount during this podcast. You a big fantasy guy? Is that something you did before, or you still do with being, in the minor leagues? Obviously, you don't have that too much time to.
Never really got into fantasy baseball, but fantasy football, yeah. I think I was in 6 leagues this last year. So it was running rampant.
I respect it. Yeah, I was in 4. It was too much. It was a lot. So I can only imagine 6.
Luckily, drafts worked out, and a lot of the team parts were similar. Or I'd go and trade for those guys to try to make my team similar.
So you're not playing the same guy on a different team that you have. Dude, that was brutal.
There was a couple, right, especially right in the playoffs, where it's like, I need CeeDee Lamb to score 18 points, but I can't have him score 20 or I lose. So it's like you're hoping for that magical number.
Yeah. So, Dave, I'm going to sit there and ask you our last question that we like to sit there and ask all of our player guests. So, hot tub time machine, okay? You can go back in the time to any game in MLB history. You can face any player in MLB history. Who you facing and why?
Ooh. Wow, that's tough. I would probably say I just got to go back and either face Mark McGwire being a Cardinals fan, or or I got to go back and just see what it was like to pitch to Barry Bonds. Like I just want to see what it's like to face someone that can, one, hit a ball that far, but two, like that guy was so disciplined at the plate as well.
Who do you think the harder out would be?
Probably Bond. I mean, I have to go with Bonds.
My thing would be just hope that McGuire doesn't hit a comebacker to you. That's it. Those were rockets that he was hitting back in that in the chase. So,
yep. Oh yeah, no, but those two guys, like that's one that I feel like if I was playing back then and I gave up a long ball to them, like I would admire it too.
You just tip your hat and tell them, great job.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Dave, hey, we want to sit there and thank you for stopping by and being a part of our podcast. You know, this time is going to be for you. The floor is yours. You know, where we can reach you at, you know, upcoming games, whatever you want to tell.
I mean, I ain't got much. Just keep up with all the us guys here in the minor leagues with the Sox. I think there's something really, truly special in the chemistry at all the levels and the chemistry I felt in spring training. I think it's going to be a good next couple years moving all these guys up. So, yeah.
So, DC, George, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you. Obviously, you're on the road, so really appreciate giving us time out of your day. Means a lot. So good luck going forward. Hope to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, and especially after a tough bus ride and everything. So we know you're about ready for bed. So
anytime, I appreciate you guys having me. It was a blast.
So, Dave, thanks a lot. So make sure, guys, you head on over to @BSEN_617 to our YouTube page. Check us out. Not only for the Pesky Podcast, but we got our Celtics content, Dynasty Proud, Kings of Causeway for the Bruins, Foxborough Fells Podcast. Make sure you head on over to our @BSEN617.square.site. Get yourself some merch. Bam. The Halkamania shirt. It's going to be a hot seller, so get it now while you can. So, but for DC, for the OG George Sutherland, and for Mr. Sandlin, thanks for stopping by the Pesky Podcast.